Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
The Conservative MP David McIntosh has this morning announced he will not seek re-election in Northampton South. Mr McIntosh was facing potential deselection, having been criticised for his role in a loan to Northampton Town Football Club, which is now under police investigation. Mr McIntosh has denied any wrongdoing. Joining us now from Norwich is the investigations editor for BBC East, Julian Sturdy. Thank you for coming on to the programme. So tell us about Mr McIntosh. Who is he?
Well, he's 38. He's only been an MP for the last 2 years. He's got a majority of 3,700. He has actually been a very active MP in Westminster. He was a prominent supporter of the Homelessness Reduction Bill and championed the rights of grandparents. He had a question at Prime Minister's Questions Times last week and was photographed a couple of days ago with Jeremy Hunt. So he last week put out a video saying, "I intend to stand again."
Right, so what's changed his mind?
Well, he's jumped before he was pushed. Next Tuesday, he was facing his deselection meeting. We'd spoken to his executive council and a majority of them were going to vote against him. In the event of that, there would have been a vote by the local party at the same meeting, and at least 60 of those were going to vote against him. He could well have gone and on the shortlist, but even then, his name had become toxic in Northampton. One prominent Tory told me that he would resign if McIntosh's name was on the ballot paper.
Right, so explain why he'd become so unpopular and so toxic, as one local member described him.
Yeah, it goes back to his days as the council leader in Northampton. In the run-up to the general election, he personally oversaw a £10 million loan to the Cobblers, the Northampton Town Football Club. It was to redevelop the stand, one of the stands, but that work ground to a halt. The money ran out, and there's now this police investigation into where the money went. Now, Mr McIntosh was prominent in that. He says he has done nothing wrong and he would cooperate with the police inquiry. But an audit did find that he had rushed through the loan, and also that his cabinet were not fully given the information about the risks of that loan. Right,
and just finally, what part has Conservative Central Office actually played in Mr McIntosh's decision to quit, do you think?
Well, they saw off a rebellion by the local party back in December when the party wanted to effectively vote of no confidence in him. We were told at the time then he would only be a one-term MP. He obviously didn't expect the election to come now, but I think in the last few weeks on the doorstep with the local election, local campaigners and candidates had found that his name just wasn't getting the brand was being destroyed. It was, in the end, a decision by the local party. It's the local party which has effectively forced him to stand down. They've now only got 2 weeks to find a replacement. We're hearing this lunchtime, that there's a consideration that the former MP, the long-serving Brian Binley, may be asked to come back.
All right, Julian Sturdy, thank you.
The Isle of Wight's Conservative MP, Andrew Turner, has announced he will not be standing at the general election following reports he told a group of sixth formers that homosexuality was wrong and dangerous to society. Mr Turner, who's represented the constituency for 16 years, said it was time for a new generation to take on his role as MP.
I've been getting away with it all my